Hi everybody, my name's Christian Lydiard and welcome to this special Yellow Live webinar. So thank you for joining us. Across the country today we have our sales team literally across the country. So we've got people from Perth all the way throughout Victoria, Tasmania, up the coast and including places like Darwin. So thank you for joining us. Today's presentation will be uncovering some opportunities for you, particularly around search engine marketing and how you can be found online. So to help me with that, I've got some guests, but before I introduce them, because this is a live webinar, you'll see on the YouTube feed that there is an opportunity to place some notes in as well. So if you have any questions as we're going, make sure you put your questions through there and we'll have Damien, one of our capability managers, tracking that. And we've got some vouchers to give away, which is exciting. So please get involved, get active, and there's an opportunity for you to also take home a prize. So joining me today is Maz. Hi Maz, how are you?
I'm very well, Christian. How are you?
I'm well. Maz, tell us about your role here at Yellow.
I'm a product manager for the performance advertising space, which means we look after search engine marketing.
Awesome. And Michael, thanks for joining us again.
Welcome.
Michael, what's your role here?
So I work in capability and strategy, so we support our frontline teams on knowing what the future of search is.
Okay, and that's a place that's emerging at quite a rapid rate, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Okay, so to help sort of frame this up, we'd like to talk about the changes, particularly when it comes to the consumer, right? So in business, it can be tricky and the way people are connecting is very different. So we'll put something up on the screen now to help illustrate this. When you think about the way consumers connected in the past, it was a very simple journey. People may have had a business card, an open sign, maybe an ad in the newspaper or the Yellow Pages, and you're in business. But today, it's become far more complex, and the way in which people are searching can be very, very different. In some ways, the power of search has very much shifted into their hands, and we all have a very different consumer journey. Michael, tell us a little bit more about how this has shifted, and particularly the channels in which people are using.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be really hard to know what to do. But if we move on to the next slide, you'll see the major channels that you can use to drive traffic to your website. And at the end of the day, if you can drive people to your website, they can become your customers. Now, we're going to be talking a lot about search engine marketing or Google AdWords or SEM or pay-per-click. There's lots of different names for the same thing. And it's one of the channels that can drive traffic. It's probably one of the most powerful channels that you can turn on when you need to.
Great. And this is really about getting engagement and the right type of engagement. On the screen here, Michael, you've really got the website sort of being the centre of that universe. How important is that ingredient, I guess, in getting this right?
The website is your digital business full stop now. So when websites first came out, you used to think of them more so as a business card. These days it is the lifeblood of a business. So it's really important to make sure that you're portraying on your website what your customers are looking for.
Yes.
But more important than anything else is also to make sure your website can be found. If it can't be found, it's basically useless.
Yeah, so let's just touch on these elements very quickly, right? So we've got Facebook advertising, search engine marketing, search engine optimization, presences on platforms like Google+, Google Map listings, and of course Yellow Pages Online. And all of these elements should be coming together to help a business get customers.
Yeah, it's all about reach. So, there's some things like Facebook and Yellow Pages Online, they'll send people directly to your business, which is great,
yes.
But they'll also drive traffic through your website as well. Some of the other ones, like search engine optimization and Google advertising, they're really about driving traffic more so to your website than anything else.
Okay, so let's talk about how do customers search. We've got a different slide to help illustrate this, so we'll bring that up for you now. How are customers searching?
So there's a number of pieces of research that are done all across the world to understand where the biggest players are, and without doubt the biggest player in search is Google. So what we see is about 91% of all traffic is on page one. So there used to be a behavior that you'd scroll through multiple pages on Google. The reality is that doesn't happen anymore. If you're not on page one, you're not in the game, and more importantly too, if you're not at the top of page one, you're missing out on the most of the traffic. People stop searching when they find what they're looking for.
Yes.
So if you're at the top and you're showing them what they're looking for, they will click on you and they will come through to your website.
So an important piece of research, and this is from a recent Forrester study, was that 74% of consumers or people, us Australians, are reporting that we're using search engines as a part of the consideration phase. So it's something that we're doing at some point on the journey, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you might be familiar with the path to purchase, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But what's really interesting about this study is that when people are ready to buy, they're even more likely to do it through search than other formats like social, etc. We found that there was 71% of people would use Google for the awareness as well,
Yes.
but it jumps up even more when they're more active and when they're more further down that decision-making process.
Okay. Now, Maz, Michael touched on that 91% of people don't scroll past the first page. One of the things that we've also seen recently is that about 40% of people don't even realise they're clicking on paid ads today. So what is your experience in that, and what are consumers or the businesses that we deal with saying when they talk to your team?
That's absolutely right, Christian, and that's because the ads don't look like ads. They're in a prominent position on top or on the bottom of the search results, and they are very relevant to your searches. So when we get asked those questions, we just let our customers know that they are ads, but they're ads that are appearing directly as a result of the things that you're searching for.
Yes.
So the business's products and services.
Okay, excellent. Let's take a look now at how consumers are changing.
Does it work? Now people ask us all the time, how do I get into work? So as you can see from the video, we no longer just visit online or go online, we actually live online. We spend so much time there, and it's very much become a part of what we do. You may have seen this video before, and it's a narrative that Google has been using around the globe in the past 18 months, and it's all about micro moments, and often that's something that we do on our mobile phone, but it's about those journeys, right? And the journey is something that we're talking about. Michael will show something on the screen now which really is quite traditional in a sense, the path to purchase. Talk us through the path to purchase, and particularly when it comes to search engine marketing, where should we be focusing our attention?
Yeah. So this model isn't new. It's been around for 100 years or more, and it's about that awareness phase, the funnel going from awareness all the way through to purchase and transaction. So as a business, you're looking at more customers or more repeat customers that are going to put money in your wallet or in your cash register. But at the start of that process is the awareness funnel as well. Now what we've found, and you saw a bit of that with the Micro Moments video, is that consumer behaviour is a little bit more fragmented, it jumps around a bit more. So what we want to make sure is that your business is not missing out on those moments that matter, and that we're able to effectively get the right messaging in. This is where it's really interesting for search engine marketing in particular.
Yes.
Search engine marketing is really powerful in the consideration phase, where people will find you, and also really powerful in the frequency section where you can get more transactions from people who are looking for those things again.
Okay. Now Maz, let's bring in a different screenshot so the customers can see this, right? So on the screen now we've got an example of the search engine results page. It doesn't really matter whether it's on Google, Yahoo, Bing or any other search engine, they all look very similar.
Yes.
What are we seeing here?
So on the left-hand side, you're actually seeing a search that somebody's conducted into Google. And what's coming back on the top are the ads. So those are the search engine marketing ads that you see on the top. And as you can see, they don't look like ads. They really blend in well with the page. On the right hand side, you see some organic listings that appear. So basically, a user is also doing a search, but what comes up is listings that are coming up from your website.
Yes. So these ads that appear on the top of the page are very smart now, right? Because they only serve an ad if it's relevant, so relevancy is key. But one of the differences between organic and the paid search is the way you can target a message.
That's true. So the ads are really targeted to the search query or the keywords in your campaign.
Yes.
So essentially, when you're typing in a search, what's coming back to you is really relevant to what you're looking for. So you know that you're only promoting your business to the people that actually care about your products and services.
Yeah, and it comes down to the development of those ads to really target and reach the message, right? So, when you're running a search engine marketing campaign, we're not looking for generalised, a generalised focus, right? We're looking very specifically to drive very hard towards the objective of the business. So
Absolutely. So it has to be very specific. So the keywords that we select as part of your campaign have to be very specifically tailored around your products and services and what is actually you want to focus your products on.
And that call to action is important. It's one of the things that you can control and set you apart.
Absolutely. So you need to have a really strong call to action. You really need to be able to hook in your consumer.
Yes.
And also one more important point to note as well is that you don't need to pay when people don't click. So you're only paying for those clicks that are directly relevant to your business.
Yeah. Okay, some really good points there. Now, yesterday we sent Terry out, who's one of our national sales managers, to Rod. Now, Rod is a client here in Melbourne from Essential Fire and Safety Services. Let's hear from Rod now.
I'd like to introduce Rod from Essential Fire Safety Services. So Rod's been in business for about 15 years and started out in 2002 doing testing and tagging and has now moved into being a full service provider of fire and safety services. So thanks for joining us, Rod.
It's a pleasure.
In business, how have you found the ways that your customers have changed looking for you?
Oh, they've changed immensely since we started. I go back to the old yellow pages and people would just sort of flip through the book to find them, whereas nowadays, I mean, there's a host of ways that people can search you out. So they're more, I suppose, they can define very much clearly what they actually want and be able to do that via the internet and get the service provider of their choice.
Okay, so you'd say it's predominantly on the internet now that the consumers are searching for you. And what's been the biggest challenge for your business in making that change?
Probably me, to a certain extent, because I'm old school, and as I said before, I'm technologically illiterate, so a lot of it was new, and it took a long time for me to actually be changed across, or converted, so to speak. But from our business point of view, we had to change because the old ways weren't working, and as I said, people were now moving over to the internet, and that was the way of the future, and like it or lump it, we had to change, and change we did.
And so you commenced doing some Google AdWords through Centre Search Ads about 2 years ago. And what you mentioned before was you were looking for different ways for search for customers. What made you change?
Okay, well, we were trying, because it's the business that we work in the old days we would go out and cold call, and that's sort of, those days are gone. So we were trying to look at how we could attract new customers because you need to keep building on your customer base. And it was brought to us by our census rep that Google AdWords, or putting in specific words where people could sort of lock onto that word and search, was the way to go. So we let our rep at the time go with it. And yeah, the results have been quite outstanding actually.
And why didn't you do this yourself, Rod?
Oh, it's too hard and I didn't understand it. It's simple.
That's probably the same for a lot of our customers in terms of that's why you would outsource a campaign. And what type of customers are you getting now from your AdWords campaign?
Well, we're getting quite a varied vast cross-section of different sorts of businesses and different sorts of entities looking for our services. So whereas prior to this, we probably concentrated on specific fields, and one of them at that stage was aged care, and that seemed to be an area we could work at, we're doing very well in. But obviously, you've got to expand your horizons. So this campaign actually brought in customers from different businesses, so we're sort of, now we're into commercial and industrial, hotels. We run the full gamut.
If you can, before the interview today, you were telling me about through search ads you come across a hotel.
Yes.
Tell us that story. That was cool.
Yes, he's actually turned out to be a very good friend of mine, this gentleman. But he rang up, he came through search ads, and the thing was basically he had a hotel in St Kilda, and he was looking for someone to perhaps look after his essential services. When I looked at it and thought it was a hotel in St Kilda, I thought, oh, do I really want to? And I didn't really act upon it, which was not good, but for a while. But he kept persisting, and eventually I made contact with him, went to visit his hotel, and it was a 5-star hotel in St Kilda, so it wasn't a divey hotel that I thought. It was actually it was part of a national or an international chain, and they've become one of my biggest clients now. So yes, so I can say it works very well.
Yeah. And I mean, that's great. And how valuable would you say customers are from that media?
Oh, the gold. You know, we've got customers that we never thought of, or we never thought we'd be able to do, or never even actually entered our minds in requiring our services. So, and we've made not only some really good business relationships, but we've actually made some relationships, good friendship relationships with those people as well. So, and some of them, you know, they're still with us, those clients. So, yeah.
And what would you say to other businesses that are looking at doing search engine marketing?
I think certainly from the point of view Census and the Census rep, or Evelyn, who's our rep, what she brought to the table for us has been excellent, and I can only recommend them that's the way to go.
Rod, recently, about 6 months ago, you upgraded your campaign. Can you tell us why you did that?
Evelyn suggested that basically our website needed to be updated. It had been getting a bit stale, and also some more keywords to basically attract them. We were defining a bit too, because we were getting some inquiries that weren't really relevant to the areas we work in. So we refined that, but predominantly also to give us some more keywords and to update our webpage.
And so you're now targeting a larger area?
Yes, we're covering a larger area, and we're more defining through it. We're defining that search or the clientele, the leads that we're getting. So, and I think it's working really well. And our web page is nearly completed. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. But the changes that have taken place so far, I can't complain. It's working.
Anything else you'd like to add today, Rodney?
No, except I'm very happy with it, and yeah, hopefully it'll keep going on.
Well, thanks, Rod, and thanks for joining us today.
Pleasure.
Great, and thank you back, Terry. Terry, this was an interview that you did yesterday with Rod. So is this a typical sort of customer that we would experience?
Absolutely. The story of Rod, what I liked about that, we did that in one take, and he was just authentic, but that's every single customer we visit. I would say 90% of them have the same issue, that Rodney knew where he needed to be. He said, my head's in yellow, my search volume, the way I search hasn't changed, but the way my customers have searched has changed. And I know I need to be there, so please, Evelyn, his media sales advisor, help me out and get me to where I need to be. And that's where we propose search engine marketing, and it's working wonders for him.
Yeah. Now, Terry is one of the national sales managers, so our field team around the country and in our capital cities are a part of Terry's team, and this is a fairly typical sort of customer experience that we would have, and it's a real challenge for small business owners. What I thought was interesting in that video was when Rod spoke about a recent acquisition, which turns out to be Accor Hotels, right? Accor is a very large hotel chain, and what surprised him was the quality of the work, Terry.
He was, he'd previously, we spoke before off camera, and he said, look, a lot of my work was targeted in the aged care because that's what I knew. I built up relationships over a long period of time. And search engine marketing, I was the first call he got was one of the first calls he got was around this hotel example, and he said this is a segment that I would never have thought of targeting because it's too hard to get in there. But they came to me, and that was purely as a result of my search engine marketing. So he said it's opened up doors for him. And I was talking to Brooke, his daughter, downstairs, and I always get nervous when I go into customer because you always ask the question, "How's business?" And she said, "It's flat out. I'm very busy." And I said, "That's good, because if you weren't flat out, then we'd probably have to pack up and leave."
Yeah, for sure. Maz, one of the other things I heard was that the know how to do this, right? So search engine marketing, in reality, is something that small businesses could do themselves, right? So how typical is that experience that Rod described about not knowing and looking for help?
Well, that's actually quite true. So yes, you can do it yourself, but you need to know where to start. And often when you think about search engine marketing, there's so many elements that can drive your success.
Yes.
You need to have the right campaign structure, the right keywords, the right ads. You need to be constantly managing and updating your bids and budgets, be effective against your competitors, and you also need to be keeping up to date with the latest changes in Google and Bing as well. So
Okay.
it's quite daunting for a small business, which is where we can come in and help.
Okay, so I guess the big question is why Census?
Well, we are one of the largest providers of search engine marketing in Australia. We've
Yes.
been doing this for more than 10 years, so we know what works and how to help businesses around Australia.
Okay, and in terms of our relationship and accreditations, we'll touch on that in a moment, but our people are one of the things that set us apart. So tell us a little bit about the team, the people and the technology that we use if we're managing a campaign for one of our clients.
Sure. So we have a team of experts, campaign managers, that are behind the scenes working hard on the campaigns. So they set up and manage those campaigns, and they ensure they actually achieve success and really perform well and target the right products and services. So with those people, they're really a passionate group of people.
Yes.
They're digital marketers. They really care about the businesses they work with, and they strive really hard to get results.
Now, let's face it, Maz, they're a little bit nerdy too, right? So sometimes,
They are,
sometimes
yes.
I describe them as the propeller heads, right? Because and that's a term of affection, right?
Of
Because
course,
Google
yes.
actually give their staff those propeller heads hats when they graduate their training. But these guys live and breathe it, right? It's not simple. It requires a real piece of technology to get success as well. So we've
Yes.
got great people and we've got technology. So tell us a little bit about the Yellow platform and how we use that to get our customers great results in conjunction with the team.
Okay, so our technology is the latest technology, and we use this technology to try and maximise the clicks that you receive
Yes.
to your website and really try and drive leads to your business. At the same time, we also focus on ensuring we don't increase your costs, so we try and reduce your costs as much as possible
Mhm.
for the clicks that you receive. And not only does the technology do that, but it also updates your bids and budgets up to 90 times a day.
Okay.
90 times a day, which is
Yes.
more than a human can do.
Yeah. So it's really the combination of great technology, world-leading technology that we have exclusively, and the ability for us to have really well-trained people. That's also coupled with the access that we've got. So you touched on us being partners with some of the biggest players here, and of course that's Google. So tell us
Yes.
about the relationship that we have with Google and Bing. And of course Bing is owned by Microsoft, so an important partner for us.
Absolutely. So we partner and work very closely with Google and Bing. We're actually a Google AdWords Premier partner and a Bing Ads Elite partner. So we actually work really closely with them. We meet up with them all the time, and we get access to all kinds of industry updates and trainings so that we can be the most expert search engine marketers in Australia.
Yes. Now we all know that, or maybe our customers don't know, right? But Google is constantly changing what they do in their algorithms, not only for their organic search, but also for their paid search. And one of the things they do with their partners is actually give us, I guess, early access, right?
Absolutely.
So we have a sense of what's going on before many of the other people that provide these services.
That's true. So we get access to industry updates and trainings. We get access to Google features before they've even launched. So that means that we're often the first to know about things before the rest of the public.
Yeah, awesome. Now, technology is great, people is great. One of the things that people often come up against when they're considering search engine marketing, and Terry, feel free to jump in here as well, are some of the myths out there. So I'm sure as a small business owner, almost every day you would have an email from somebody somewhere in the world
I can get you on the
promising
front page of Google.
front page of Google, right?
Every business I go into, without fail, has had that call. I would say 100%. Have you had a call with someone promising you the front page of Google? Yes, I have.
Okay, so Maz, what does Google say about these guarantees or promises?
Well, Google says you can't guarantee number one position. You can't guarantee anything. Nothing is guaranteed. However, if you have the right campaign structure, the right keywords, the right ads, and you have a really good campaign setup, you can
Yes.
actually get really quality results, high quality results, and be relevant and found in Google
Yeah.
search listings.
And some of those experiences like Rod was sharing. Now, before we started this live session today, you were sharing with me about a dentist that we've recently taken on managing their account for them. And they had dabbled in doing search engine marketing themselves without success. So talk us through some of that.
Sure. So we have a customer, a fairly new customer to us. He's a dentist in Adelaide, and he was managing his own Google AdWords campaign, and he was getting about $6.50 a click. So he decided to come to Census Search Ads just so he can focus on his business, but he still really wanted to focus on Google advertising and trying to drive results for his business. So after 1 month of being with us, his cost per click had actually decreased down to $4.
Yes.
After 2 months with us, it had gone down even further, down to $2.30. He's in his 3rd month now, and his costs have actually decreased even further. So he's actually getting $1.88 per click.
Yes.
So he's actually getting 253% more clicks than he did before, and getting a really good result for his business.
How did you do it? How'd you do it?
How did he do it?
Yeah.
Well, we worked really closely. Well, the campaign manager worked really closely with him.
Yep.
They made sure that we were promoting the right products and services, the ones that he really wanted to focus on. We created heaps of ads for him. He previously only had 1 ad. And we went and created heaps of really high quality ads for him. And we worked really closely to make sure that the leads he was getting were really high quality and relevant leads. And now the customer's actually focusing on just trying to turn those leads into bookings for his business.
Yeah, definitely. So I think this sort of wraps up, I guess, a sense of what's available and some of those myths too, right? In that it's not just about budget, so it's not that who pays the most necessarily gets the position. Some of that plays a factor, but good quality management of accounts can certainly make the budget go a lot further, right?
Agree.
So some of the future trends, let's touch on that now. Now we'll show another image over the screen of some devices which are emerging technology, right? So one of the things that we know is that this journey is going to continue to shift. The consumers are changing at a rapid pace, and that means that we have to be aware of the trends. I have some Google Play vouchers here, so if you know what one of these are, make sure
They're not air fresheners.
They're not air fresheners, no. So
That was real. Someone actually thought, are they air fresheners? No, they're not.
No, they're not air fresheners. So put that in the feed, and we've got some vouchers. So first people to do that, we'll nominate some winners.